folks. This one ought to be fun. And this is a very good article that actually proves the wall and what we've been talking about. A lot of people think it's attraction and looks and stuff like that when we talk about the wall, but it's actually reproductive capacity. A woman's reproductive capacity starts when she's a girl at 12. So by the time she's 30, guess what? 80% of her reproductive capacity is already gone. This article comes from Wharton College. It's actually done by an economist. Corinne Lowe examines the economic trade-offs women face in balancing career and family timing and the need for more gender equitable policies. Does a woman's biological clock have a price? For every year a woman ages, she must earn $7,000 more annually to remain equally attractive to potential romantic partners, according to new research from Wharton professor Corinne Lowe, that calculates the economic trade-off for women between career and family. In two forthcoming papers, Lowe, a professor of business economics and public policy, takes a revealing look at reproductive capital, a term she uses to describe the economic value of fertility and thus trade-offs that women make when they make time-consuming educational or career investments. In her first paper, Pricing the Biological Clock, the Marriage Market Cost of Aging to Women. Can't wait to read it. Forthcoming at the Journal of Labor Economics, Lowe designed a unique online dating experience to determine how both men and women fare in the marriage market as they get older and fertility declines. You always hear about the biological clock and how influential it is in women's lives, but what's been missing from the literature is this idea that if men also want to have kids, then it isn't just a personal trade-off for women, it's an economic trade-off. She said who you marry is one of the most significant financial decisions you can make. It's a big deal for your financial well-being, whether you marry someone who is going to make $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year. That is very true. That's why you start looking for women in marriage. Women start looking for husbands in college, because who you marry makes a financial difference. The experiment recruited real online daters who were asked to rate hypothetical profiles in which the photo was the same, but the age and income varied. The participants were incentivized to be honest in their answers. As compensation, they received customized advice from a dating coach on how to attract the type of partner they rated highest. The results found that both male and female participants valued at a high income in a potential romantic partner, but there was also a sharp contrast when it came to age preference. Look at this. Men were rated higher as they aged, as we have always said, right? Shout out to Rollo Tomasi and his SMV, right? While women were rated lower as they aged. However, the preference for young women was only found among male daters who had no children. And it was just an article I just saw. Only 39% of men between the ages of 15 and 40, prime dating ages, had children. So 60% of these guys don't have kids. So this is very significant. Based on their ratings, for every year past 30, women had to make a $7,000 more a year to stay in the romantic running for them. In other words, for single guys with no kids, woman's got to make $7,000 more a year. She's got to be more financially attractive compared to the harder, younger, more fertile women. We've been saying that forever, right? Now, Corinne is actually putting a price on it. These findings indicate that men also hear the ticking of the biological clock. Seeking to marry and have children, they naturally prefer more fertile partners. Not rocket science, Lowe wrote in a paper. Lowe says she hopes business and political leaders will use her findings to craft more equitable policies that take into consideration the economic trade-off for women. Although women's educational levels have been rising rapidly in the last 50 years, women still make up just 8.8%. Yeah, we know, yada, yada. Keeping talented women in the workforce isn't just important in closing the gender gap, it's a key component of a thriving economy. In other words, they want to make more sacrifices for women. You might be paying her more money to stay in this high pressure job, but she's losing out on the marriage market, which puts it in a different economic terms. In other words, they want to pay women more money for staying past 30 because of her eggs. Bullshit. But anyway, women's fertility begins to decline in the 30s, which is the same age that most careers are seeing. If you look at when men are most valuable, at these male-like careers, it starts at 35, between 35 and 55. So in the mid 30s, when your career is starting to take off, guess what? Her fertility is almost shot. Firms need to think about how to alleviate the trade-off, recognize it as the equivalent of costing her money. In other words, you got to pay her. In other words, you got to pay her more money than the guys because the guys don't have clocks. Skipping down. While Lowe's first study finds a $7,000 price tag on each year marriage is delayed, her second study, Human Capital, Reproductive Capital Trade-off in Marriage Market Matching, forthcoming in the Journal of Political Economy, models the real trade-offs this consideration creates in women's school and career investments. Guess what we're going to try to do? We got some PhDs in the house. We're going to try to get this. Okay. People who are higher income or higher education typically marry partners who are also higher income or higher education. This phenomenon economists refer to as assortative matching. Basically, women do. Lowe documents key deviation from this pattern. Throughout the 20th century, graduate educated women have married poorer spouses than college educated women, despite being higher earners themselves. Every other educational level, women marry richer spouses. Why? Education may increase human capital, but because it takes time, it decreases reproductive capital, especially for educational investments that take longer and later in life. Lowe shows that when you acknowledge this duality in women's school investments, you can predict that the education will be viewed as a positive thing in marriage market up to a point, but will start to detract from women's marriage market value when it interferes with fertile years. Of course it will. The only good news, that they said, is because everyone is having fewer children, graduate women aren't facing quite the same disadvantages. The preference for smaller families seems to be a bit of an equalizer for women across the board. Yeah, but looks is also a problem. All right. There are some real difficulties, and we can build a better society that lets us be more equal by taking account of these differences, she said. But we don't get there by ignoring differences and gaslighting women that they can just try harder. That's what they've been telling them. You're the same as a man. They've been saying, you're the same as a man. So you just try harder, you can do what a man does. That's like when we got chicks freezing their eggs and looking for sperm at 40, because they've done this. This is what they've been preaching to women. But this, my good people, is proof of the wall. And now it has a price tag. Now it's got a price tag, $7,000 per year, just to stay equal with their younger fertile partner, your under 30s partner. That's how come you see, especially the higher value the woman is, the more penalty she pays when she gets past 30. Like the 100 octanes, basically you are falling out of the 100 octane level if you go past 30. Brittany Renner, she got to be 29. She found her last ride. Guess what she did? Screwed it up. She left. She ain't gonna get that guy no more. Look at Lala. Lala's 41. She ain't gonna get what she had, even though she was married to a high value guy, 100 octane guy. She gave it up. Look at Tia Mowry. She ain't gonna get another guy like that, even though he wasn't quite at that level. She's not gonna get another guy like that. She's 40. Sierra did it right. She was fucking 29. She was 29. She caught the last bus. There's a whole lot of chicks that don't catch the last bus. And they have to go down. They have to go down in quality. They have to go down in money. They have to go down in status. So how come you see chicks with degrees that are 38, 39 having babies by plumbers and construction workers and sometimes even thugs, not because they want to get married, it's because they want a kid. And guys that have the same educational level as them are not going to get with a woman that's, 35 to 40 without kids. They're not. I've heard that from various people that are at that level, that they don't do it. If they're going to have kids, they don't have kids. They're not going to pick a woman that's 35 to 40. They're going to pick a chick that's in her 20s. The only difference, the way a guy at that level or at her level is going to pick her, is if he has kids already. But he's not going to pick her if she doesn't. They're not going to start over. Now, she's already got him, he'll take her. But she ain't got him and she's 38, 39, 40, and he's got 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds. He's not going to pick that woman because he don't want to start over. So they're damned. So this is a very good article. And just a touch. When that paper comes out, man, I can't wait. I can't wait to read that bad boy. Now, this is a woman writing it. It's not a man writing it. That wall is for real. That clock is for real. And now we know what it costs. When you go past it and you're higher earning women, that's what it's going to cost you. So all you independent women, heed what we're saying. Anywho, that's all I got for this one. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.